This is P.O.C. It is currently Saturday, June 13th, 2026. It is actually 13/13 on the 13th. Pay attention to that. But anyway, this is video documentation regarding what is ongoing evidence pursuant to a comprehensive prosecution of the United States government in this public investigation of the U.S. government that's engaging in criminal surveillance, i.e. federal group stalking and monitoring, which is ordinarily referred to as gang stalking. And it has been the case, and my evidence of the P.O.C. has fully proven, and this is evidence in the same regard, that gang stalking, which is criminal monitoring, not just physically stalking, not just online stalking, but monitoring, which exceeds stalking, which is occurring in a specific environment, is that which is also underway on the venue of the internet. The specific environment affects your communication device, its operation. It's pursuant to what is under surveillance, meaning everything that you're doing on the internet is in fact under surveillance, and this is speaking to the whole illusion that is maintained intentionally in the United States, which is the fact that you have any privacy whatsoever, especially with regard to the gang stalkers who are engaging in surveillance, the police departments, the law enforcement agencies throughout this country, and they maintain the criminal surveillance system under the illusion that you have a Fourth Amendment right against unlawful searches and seizures, which does include your privacy, in other words, that you have at the outset by default on the internet, on your devices, meaning a police officer does not just have the ability to just take your phone without some Fourth Amendment prerequisites being met in order to engage in what is a search. Okay, it is a search, and when your device is under surveillance, it's an unlawful search of a communication device, that which you have an invested constitutional right and privacy. And the entity that's engaging in surveillance is maintaining an illusion. And these law enforcement agencies that are gang stalking, meaning they're engaging in surveillance and they're engaging in what is literally physically stalking, while they are maintaining this illusion that they're engaged in law enforcement and that they have authority under the Constitution, state and federal. They have none of that. Okay, and the entity has, as I've shown, gone exceedingly above that. They've engaged in kidnapping me while they're seeking to obstruct justice, which is, again, the unprecedented basis for federal prison and disbanding upon exposing and prosecuting, enforcing one's rights, anyone's rights, for surveillance. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in public corruption. So I am on Facebook. This is the venue where I'm at. I want you to see. This is, I'm going to go ahead and show you the Wi-Fi network because this is a prosecution of the entity in many regards. I'm at the Upland Public Library. The Upland Public Library is a facilitating venue where the fake sun is currently over me right now. They are monitoring, they being the people of the state who are gang stalking. This is the fake sun that's over me, and in this venue, this is the entity that's maintaining this environment. This is all engineered light, it's not sunlight. This is blatant surveillance, impossible light on the staircase, just engaging in what is surveillance on behalf of the government. Also surveillance inside of the bathrooms, stalking in bathrooms, monitoring in bathrooms. That is your genitalia, that where you have no privacy whatsoever, and gang stalking police officers, gang stalking agencies, which is what they are, exposing this system, and what the entity is engaging in are sharing in that with the people of the state, who are all demons. Okay, and that is proven because this fake sun, as I've shown you, remains over me for the duration of the day. The entity is engaging in surveillance on the internet, and this is pertaining to the prosecution that I have seamlessly maintained on the internet. And the entity is not only humiliated by this, they are federally prosecuted by it. And the entity that is engaging what is blocking my constitutional right, my freedom of speech, even to use a third party, because that's what Facebook is. You are defined as a third party, not only by virtue of the government that is not the actual owner or creator, but you are a third party by your conduct. And so in court, Facebook, that is, again, owned by one who wants to demonstrate that they are the creator of Facebook. I'm the creator of Google, for example, and Zuckerberg, Sergey, these are demons who are engaging in surveillance in the name of the United States government. They're engaging in surveillance abroad as well, and they are doing so as state actors. And that is proven through what is the pattern of conduct that's facilitated on these platforms. And that is under the law, where you are under any circumstances facilitating surveillance by a government in furtherance of murder, which is a threat to the life of an American citizen. You are a third party under the law, and you will be prosecuted. You are not, in other words, a private company. You're not engaged in private activity. It's not constitutionally protected, and you are engaging in the pattern of conduct in the shoes of the entity, the government, the military, the one that's stalking me in planes and helicopters, and you do so in furtherance of my life. In other words, Zuckerberg may very well be in a helicopter flying in circles over my head, because that is the ability to prosecute that company and prosecute the entity itself, which is Facebook online. So this is the understanding that pattern of conduct, and the entity is not ignorantly engaging in that. Moreover, this is the creation of policy and laws, legislation that are entirely constitutional when you have a malicious system that maintains all of these illusions. So this is merely the creation of policies regarding what is actually the fact. Because in court, you prosecute based on facts, not based on what you know. And you all know that there's only one sun. Right? NASA knows that as well, but NASA is not addressing what I'm exposing to you, which is undeniable. There's only one sun, and Meta, Facebook, that is headquartered in California, cannot ever, under any time of day, where these demons are pacing around me like psychopaths and doing so on behalf of the police that are seeking to conceal the fact that I'm documenting and prosecuting them stalking me as an agency in furtherance of murder and kidnapping. Facebook, Meta, that's headquartered in California, cannot possibly share this environment at all, which is speaking to the pattern of conduct that's underway in California by the same entity. They're called the people of the state. Okay, they are engaging in a pattern of conduct in furtherance of the entity that's maintaining an environment on the internet where what I publish that is damning toward those that engage in kidnapping and murder, because they're not engaging in the execution of duties of officers upon the established pattern of conduct, you are in what is the realm for being prosecuted as terrorists. You don't make arrests or even unlawful arrests, you commit kidnappings. You don't have what is any accidental or reasonable loss of life. You're talking about gang stalking, which is reasonably going to result in what is a loss of life of any person. You're engaged in murder. That's the requisite premeditation right there. The entity is engaging in what is the maintenance of an illusion that's necessary so that Marcelo Blanco, Darren Goodman, the Ontario Police Department, for example, in Ontario, you name a police department, they're engaging in that POC. And they're doing so desperately with the people of the state who are demons engaging in surveillance with the U.S. government. The state of California, the city of Upland, that's engaged in the U.S. military's POC. The same U.S. military that you see stalking me from city to city, from block to block, from street to street, from bathroom to bathroom. That's the entity that fills the Upland Public Library stalking obsessively. And these are the mentally ill, okay? In the face of consequences, you are able to see their mental illness in HD. They're willing to go to prison for free, because they're not getting any of my money. They're going to prison, they're going to be confined, they're going to be deported, they're going to lose custody of their children, they're going to be federally prosecuted, and yet they are, even right now, diligently gang stalking. Okay, the entity's doing so while this is the evidence that is on Facebook. Facebook is a facilitating venue where I am publishing my posts and they are vanishing off the internet, including the record of my posting yesterday, which I documented. So let me show you that, because I documented the, let me go ahead and show what I just captured, which is, this is what I documented yesterday as I'm seeking to share the same post. I posted it on X. I document a police department that is stalking me. In order to prove what your allegations are, you have to provide facts. I provide those facts. It's the evidence is so straightforward and probative. It is so powerful. I am able to put it on the internet, and I can show you how I'm going to prosecute within the four walls of a tribunal. And I want to be clear, they are already prosecuted through what is this court case that I'm maintaining on social media. The entity just doesn't want that to be witnessed on the internet, and that is a criminal act as well. It is also relevant to what shall change and what is also known, that Meta, Facebook, Google, YouTube, etc. are engaged in surveillance on the internet. And they have been engaged in surveillance on the internet, and they profit from surveillance on the internet. The entity is engaging in this right here: confirm your identity before you can publish as this page. This is a matter of what is monitoring. And I have fully shown and demonstrated time and time again the entity that is monitoring our devices, keeping our devices under surveillance, doing so in the specific environment. You have the demons that'll pace in front of you, have a crying child under the fake sun, getting up, stalking you with noise. They're monitoring and affecting your devices while doing so. And a population does that while a fake sun remains over a library all day long, and all the demons are doing is maintaining. They're coming in and out of the library, in and out of your location, pacing all around you. They're doing so while a bunch of psychopaths who are demons are outside of the building, pacing all around, including the ones at the Upland Police, using sirens and lights, especially while I'm sharing what was already published. This was published yesterday. Okay, and this is shared in my comments right here. Because the entity is seeking to remove my evidence, this is speaking to more and more evidence that's going to prosecute facilitating venues such as Google, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, the entity that's engaged in what is interfering with a public investigation where my life, where an American citizen's life is under threat. You don't have any relevant company policies, community guidelines, as they like to refer to them. While they're gang stalkers, they're third parties. Google is headquartered under the fake sun in California, by the way. Meta, Facebook, Instagram, they're headquartered under the fake sun in California. They share in surveillance. And the U.S. military, the people of the state of California, you name a city, I've already documented in the body of my evidence, they are prosecuting these social media platforms that are headquartered, many of them headquartered in California, who are very knowledgeable of who I am and the substance of my evidence that I have a constitutional right to post on the internet, including on the platforms. Okay, this is an entity that's doing so an unlawful threat to your life. And it directly contends with, contradicts, rebuts, disproves what these platforms are stating is the purpose, what they claim to be interested in, like giving the little guy a voice, like being interested in that which is educational, informing the public, benefiting the public, but not when it's exposing criminal surveillance. That's a threat to your life. Not then. Then your evidence that's prosecuting gang stalking police departments, which is an interest to the public, where it's presenting an ongoing threat to my life. That is what is mysteriously vanishing off the internet, okay? So it is published on X. I seek to share it yesterday, June 12, 2026, on Facebook, like I do all of my evidence, maintaining a paper trail, which is going to be relevant within the four walls of a tribunal, where the federal prosecution of the U.S. government shall be cinematic, and the entity removing my evidence is also the provision of evidence to prosecute for surveillance. Okay? The entity is engaging what is watching everything that is published and even removing it, and then patting themselves on the back. Remember, they're monitoring. These are demons that celebrate when a post disappears off the internet. You know what it's proving to you who are witnessing it? You are under surveillance on the internet. What does the fake sun documentation prove to you? Number one, that I am being targeted by, number two, demons. That's relevant for you to be educated by. But also that you are under surveillance in an environment that is irreconcilable with science. No scientific expert can get on the stand in any tribunal and reconcile my body of evidence. They can't reconcile it with what they know about the environment, what they share with us about the sun, what they're out in the rocket ships exploring about the universe regarding the sun. But what I'm documenting over the Upland Public Library day in and day out, where my evidence is being tampered with, it's being snatched, stolen, it's disappearing, where my intellectual property on these third-party platforms are being fraudulently misused and profited from. And it's also intellectual property that also has the purpose of protecting myself and enforcing my rights against a government system that these platforms are also engaging in. None of these are coincidences. This is showing the systematic means of surveillance on the internet. Okay, and this is a prosecution of on the online venues. They are venues on the internet, not private property, not private companies. This is the P.O.C, and so this is speaking to the screenshot. The screenshot is a reference to the link where I published a snippet of a prosecution of a gang stalking police department, which is an un-American oxymoron, which is relevant for prosecution for federal group stalking and monitoring. This is federal stalking by corrupt law enforcement agencies who are engaged in a matter of public corruption with the people of the state, and they're doing the same thing while they're in the library engaging in surveillance, while the police are engaging in stalking me as well while I'm out inside of this venue, and they are maintaining the ongoing course of conduct of stalking with light, stalking in the path and stalking with audible activity, which is the criminal summoning conduct. And this is what they do while I seek to share this post regarding the entity conspicuously stalking me yesterday, June 12, 2026, at the intersection of 8th Street and Euclid Avenue in Upland, California, specifically at ARCO 193 South Euclid Avenue, which is my location. Not only do I document the people of the state, a plethora of gang stalkers by license plate, which is a basis of prison. And these future felons are seeking to, and I want to be clear, this evidence is speaking to enhanced terms in prison. You're only getting longer. You're not avoiding anything. And I will prosecute anybody seeking to get in the way of prosecuting terrorists who seek to murder and kidnap any person that has a human right, let alone an American citizen that has a constitutional right. And the entity that's engaging in that, they act together. Every license plate in the entire department is engaged in obstruction of justice together while my evidence disappears on the internet, while I'm blocked from publishing it online, where it is a pattern of conduct and not an anomaly, not a malfunction. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that. And so this is what I wanted to capture a screen recording of so that you can see the presence of it. It's on what is my Facebook profile, Erica Spencer. All right, and I also have a Facebook page. And this is the, again, pursuant to the pattern that I've already demonstrated regarding surveillance that is indeed underway. I am, let me go back to the, I am publishing this and sharing this 30 minutes ago is what you'll see. I'm sharing this screenshot again, and this is the link to X. And this is the second time I'm reposting it, because the first post that I had to share yesterday when I returned to Ontario, because Upland Public Wi-Fi, that's engaged in federal stalking, which is a basis to prosecute, and everybody that's gang stalking is also engaged in gang stalking on the internet. This is federal prison for all the employees. And so while my posts are disappearing, the entity's working diligently toward federal time, because that's all that they're acquiring. The entity's obsessively engaging in this pattern of conduct where they are already shown and proven to be guilty. So obstruction of justice, just like in any other federal case, you're getting more time. The targeted individual is recovering more damages. Okay? The entity, you're accumulating more federal charges. And it's occurring on the venue of the internet. Third parties such as Facebook and YouTube are engaging in surveillance as well. And this is the entity that is engaging in monitoring. So monitoring is proven how? First of all, yesterday after the entity, which I documented, that I was unable to, and I did this on Instagram where I'm sharing the fact that I'm blocked from Facebook. I shared it on X, the fact that I'm blocked on Facebook from sharing my posts. My posts that have to do with any sort of censorship, which is unconstitutional, and it's not merely a third party right within their private company. No, this is a federal offense, while surveillance is in fact proven through the P.O.C. And where surveillance is underway, you are engaging in the unlawful interference in a federal case. And when you do that, that's a federal charge. It's not your discretion to engage in what is abiding by your so-called community policies, where it is interfering with the constitutional right to an American citizen not having their life under threat by the U.S. military, by the government, by the people of the state. And that includes that social media platform. So there is a distinction, and the issue is this within the pattern of conduct or is it not within the pattern of conduct? And where it is within the pattern of conduct, you are engaged in domestic terrorism. You're engaged in gang stalking, criminal facilitation of it. And you're claiming that you're ignorant and that you don't know. Not only is it untenable and unreasonable, it is untrue, and it will not stop a prosecution of any American citizen against the government that is being aided in gang stalking and threatening the life of an American citizen through you, that third-party platform. Okay, so this is what the entity's doing while I am publishing, and I am blocked from being able to share it on Facebook. And remember, the entity's monitoring, so what I post on X that the entity doesn't want shared anymore, it will then be blocked on the next platform, which is what happened on Facebook. So then I go to Instagram and I share what was being blocked on Facebook, and I share on X and on Threads and on Instagram what was being blocked on Facebook. I clean out my phone, meaning I clear my cookies and I clear out all the cache, and I close out all my accounts. These are the ways in which you are getting out of the entity that's monitoring our devices is doing so based on your history. So you clear out your phone. factory reset, delete everything, depending on how much you need what's on your phone. But these are the ways in which you're maneuvering around an entity that's keeping you on your device under surveillance and what you're doing on your device. So when you're going to a website, the first time you go there, you'll be able to go there. But the second time you go to that website, the entity that is tracking, that is literally stalking you online, using your devices to do so, doing so in the specific environment, this is where you will experience the ability for this entity to preclude your operations in one way or another on that website, on your device, okay? So this is where the crucial, I call it like technological hygiene, if you will, clearing out your cookies, clearing the cache, clearing all these websites out that people typically just leave open, and you're being monitored, everything, all of your business, okay? And it doesn't stop it from you, it doesn't stop you from being monitored, but it just enables your ability to access what you want. And even when you're doing so the first time, like I did here, I cleared out all my cookies yesterday. I'm in Ontario, on Ontario Wi-Fi, and I am not blocked because of that. Now, what happened is it was missing. The fact that I published it on Facebook yesterday evening, it's gone. And this is why I'm also creating now, this is what I'm saying with the demons. All you're doing is making it worse for you. You keep making it worse and worse and worse. You will not avoid this prosecution. And more people are inevitably linked in what you continuously do. And this is, again, with regard to how much of a monstrosity of a problem the entity has targeting me in the first place, those gang stalkers at 8th Street and Euclid, they need to just take that loss, because people around the world are being prosecuted while you are embarrassed about your license plate being documented. When the answer is stop gang stalking. Just stop it. This is the entity that's engaging in this P.O.C. And so what I published on last night on Facebook vanished. And so today I republished it. Remember, so when I get on Up and Public Wi-Fi with now freshly cleaned, if you will, history of my phone, I'm able to successfully publish it onto my profile. That's what this is, and this is why I wasn't blocked. Now, what I just showed you is the entity that is indeed monitoring. As I try to do the same thing on my page, this is what I'm told, and there is no issue with my Facebook page. And there are no malfunctions. We are under surveillance. It's the same with you. The government that is keeping us under surveillance is not having internet connections, issues, malfunctions. These are manufactured while we're under surveillance. For whatever reason, and under my circumstances, the entity is very much interested in blocking the embarrassment, the humiliation of stalkers of a police department, because that's what they are. They're stalkers. The entity is gang stalking me, and they are doing so at the intersection of 8th Street and Euclid, and they are doing so while I am showing you what the entity is incapable of escaping. The fact that the fake sun is over me at that same intersection, let's see, from 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 hours later, which is excluding the fact that Facebook, and headquartered in another city, in another county in California, would ever share the natural environment. And because of that supernatural feature regarding this criminal activity that I'm exposing, Facebook is a part of the same exact system that is not coincidentally underway on the internet, where I have been documenting a pattern of the entity manipulating my devices, manipulating my internet activity, my access, and the entity doing so while they are keeping their own investigation under surveillance. That is quite an audacious act committed by the U.S. government. But there are federal charges for that. And that's what I've diligently maintained evidence of. This entity is engaging in the P.O.C. Surveillance is nationwide, and it is occurring regarding context that everyone can witness. When you look up in the sky and you see the fake sun over you, it is not the same sun that is over me. It is impossible, especially when it doesn't move, and I documented that for everyone's benefit. In that environment, everyone, everywhere, at all times is under surveillance, and they are the demon possessed in what is that demonic environment, and it is underway on our devices that are monitoring us in concert with the demons surrounding who are monitoring us in the demonic environment where we are being monitored. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that. And so this is what I want to show and capture in video when I am. This is stating that it's over 30 minutes ago, the entity, and I'm also capturing my comments because the entity is engaged in, it's demonic. It's very demonic what the entity does. And these are the psychopaths that I am being targeted by, that you are being monitored by. They're stalking you. You're being stalked and surrounded, and you don't know it. And you know it now by virtue of the P.O.C. And this is information that is newsworthy, that is in need of being disseminated, that is serving the public good. And there is no public policy whereby any third party or government has any basis to censor or ban or limit this information. That is the P.O.C., number one. And number two, the entity has done so in order to facilitate this criminal conduct that I also remain subject to. You remain subject to it, but most importantly, I remain subject to it as I'm enforcing my rights. And as I enforce my rights, I also inform the public. It's a threat to my life as well. And I want to be clear, no company, no corporate interest is competing with the life of an American citizen. Neither is an unreasonable, untenable claim and a legally irrelevant one that you don't know that what you're doing is threatening the life of an American citizen, is facilitating a massive government system of surveillance. It is inadequate, and you are going to be federally prosecuted. It is also proven that that is not the case. That's not the case. But this is the P.O.C. I want to make sure that I get a screenshot in this video so that you can read my comments, because this is what the entity has been engaged in. And I'm going to share this video, publish it to the Google Drive, publish it on YouTube. This is a part of the prosecution of the online venues. The entity has been engaged in targeting me online for years, and the entity is doing so with and without the criminal aid of the third parties, meaning Facebook, on the Facebook apps, on Facebook websites. On the Facebook websites. Meta is the name of these venues. And now the entity is very much in relevant position, stalking in a helicopter and in jets, and are affecting my access, as are the people of the state. The more that they run back and forth in front of me, they're monitoring and affecting my internet activity. And that's what you need to understand, the significance, not just the fake sun, which is a phenomenon you're no longer ignorant about, but what they're doing in your face, and you're no longer ignorant about. It's significant. It is not to cause fear. It is to inform you and advise you. They're monitoring right in plain sight, and they are demons. And these demons are caught, and so now they're engaging in catching more federal charges, and you will be compensating me greater damages because of the entity that is interfering with the public investigation. There is no company policy. There is no legitimate government interest to do so. Marcelo Blanco just doesn't want you to know that he's a vagina monitoring psychopath, stalking me for the last 3 days at the same corner because you are delusional regarding a point that you cannot make and that you will not engage in. You will not engage in stalking an American citizen conspicuously. You won't and remain outside of prison. I'll tell you that much. This is the P.O.C. These are the comments that are on the Facebook. This is what I publish, and its disappearance is a criminal act, while the entity is, again, proving surveillance underway. These are not malfunctions. You don't have, and it's unreasonable. When you have a fake sun, when you have this phenomenon, this is showing you that there are no coincidences here. There's none. And I'm not the only one that's aware of this. This is an unspoken system that everybody is forced to acknowledge now, and the demons that are being delusional, showing you how psychotic they've been from the outset, now they're engaging in front of all of the world that which they've been doing the entire time, and thought that they could defame another person, including the person that they're stalking, in order to kill and steal from by defaming that person. That entity is the one that's being subject to martial law. That entity is the one that's going to compensate an American citizen for even facilitating it on the venue of the internet, where you are absolutely in full control of your constitutional rights and within the boundaries of the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, where we are commissioned to expose, obligated to expose what the U.S. government is engaging in. And social media is where I, by necessity, had to expose that and enforce my rights, because the courts are gang stalking, because they are engaged in surveillance, because they've repeatedly kidnapped me and facilitated this very system. The courts are the impetus of this system. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 1:42 p.m. Now, capturing this, I'm going to go ahead and capture screenshots while I'm on this phone right now during the course of this video. All right, I'm going to capture my screenshots as a matter of evidence. No question and no reasonable question about what was documented, where it was documented, what was documented previously. Not these comments, but this and my evidence already shows that my pattern is to publish it, and then I share what I publish on social media across X, Facebook, and Threads. So upon me doing what I've been doing, maintaining this public investigation, you have the entity that thinks they're going to interfere, and nobody's going to know that they're also trying to interfere. So you're gang stalking me, and then you want to try to block the ability for that embarrassing prosecution on social media, when I could just pull a video out of my back pocket and show you immediately they're demons and they're stalking me in particular. They don't want you to see that. They don't have any ability to control that. And while they seek to do so, you will find yourself in prison. This is no small thing. It is terrorism that precedes murder and what is ongoing with regard to psychological torture. This is a threat. While an American citizen tries to protect themselves, publish the information, and then the entity is going to just snatch it and stop it. That's an unlawful threat by the government. And the government is acting through third-party venues on the internet, where you are suffering the same exact conduct, which is not protected. This is P.O.C. All right, taking these screenshots, and I want to show what I already did show is the entity that is blocking my ability to do the exact same thing on my page. All right, where my page and my profile are part of the same, and you can hear the entity engaging in what is criminal summoning in the background, and the fake sun that's over me. These are the same gang stalkers. They're being disbanded, but this is the entity that's engaging in that. No problems with my identity. I want you to see the entity that is engaging in what is blocking. This is pursuant to monitoring, surveillance, federal stalking under Title 18. I want you to hear the criminal summoning. That's Upland Police, who are going to prison. Okay, and so are the people of the state that are in this video, who are not being protected at all. In fact, they're going to federal prison for longer. This is enhancement, including in this video where Upland Police goes out of its way to communicate a threat while they're stalking in the path under the fake sun. They're doing so with regard to what is audible activity. They are monitoring, and monitoring is only occurring under in furtherance of murder, and they're doing so during the course of this video. So let me show you the fake sun, where there are no emergencies. The Upland Police Department are engaged in criminal monitoring. They're engaged in criminal surveillance, while the people of the state maintain obsessive presence, where the fake sun remains after 5 p.m. and they conduct themselves like nothing is happening. It's the same evidence that's going to have them committed. They're engaged in surveillance, so hovering. They're monitoring my vagina. Okay, there is nothing that is going to change those facts. The entities engaging in that and the people of the state that are documented, they are going to prison right along with the gang members of the Upland Police who are engaged in that. P.O.C. stalking me in the path that I'm walking to this venue where the fake sun remains until the end of the day. They are engaging in what is surveillance on Facebook, and Meta is exposed to criminal prosecution and civil prosecution for that. All right, the entity that's engaging in this is occurring on my profile, but yet not occurring on my page, okay? That's pursuant to the pattern of conduct, where the entity is able to block after you first engage in that conduct, and that's how I was able to get it on my profile. And then I'm blocked like I was yesterday before I cleared out my cookies, where the entity is monitoring on my device. Upland Police that you hear engaging what is monitoring on my device, no warrant, no probable cause, no legitimate government interest whatsoever, and it does not exist where the entity is engaging in surveillance with the people of the state. This is the basis for what shall be disbanding the Upland Police, who are also demonstrating what is a matter of impunity and high level of malice. This is a matter of what is judicial notice, that this is not the sun. This is a matter of judicial notice while it's remaining over me while I'm at the same location after 5 p.m. And you just heard the entity engaging in the pattern of conduct. This is the P.O.C. Upland Police are gang stalking, as I showed in video, after 6 p.m. on this same street, where 5 hours from now, 5.5 hours from now, 6 hours from now, the sun is not going to be in the same city, on the same street, where the entity keeps engineer light inside of. This is all that prosecution that's built in to blocking my evidence that is maintained for the purposes of benefiting the public regarding public corruption in California that is affecting those that are across the nation. And you are witnessing what is psychopathic behaviors by demons that are inside of the venue gang stalking. Sirens outside, the demon possessed conduct themselves like nothing is happening, and they're engaged in psychopathic pacing. They're engaged in ongoing stalking in the engineer light, and the environment is the evidence to have them diagnosed. This is the entity that's engaging in what is a highly malicious means of criminal activity, and the mental illness is subtle with regard to recognizing their psychopathic patterns. And the patterns are found in their environment where they are intentionally and knowingly present. Okay, while they're engaging in the POC, which is also evident through the operation of your devices, through what is the entity that is obsessively stalking you while maintaining, oh, I don't know, I'm not talking to you, I'm not looking at you, so therefore I'm not stalking. No, that's a psychopath that's going to be committed. This is martial law that's going to be enacted. Okay, this is the entity that's doing so, obsessively stalking by sitting around. This is surveillance. Not just casually or coincidentally or ignorantly or just in operation of any constitutional rights being anywhere around you. It's the government. Okay, this is the POC. I want to make sure that that is understood as well. The entity is engaging in what is, on the one hand, identify the need to identify myself when I am securely logged into the account and nothing changed about my use of my account. The entity that's monitoring on the internet does that. While you are under surveillance by the people of the state, they mirror your devices. This is why they gang stalk you where you're located. This is how they access things, like the entity that's been stealing from me, mirroring my device, accessing my bank accounts, accessing accounts that I don't even have access to make it appear as though, for example, an IP number that is mirroring your device makes it look like you are accessing that account, makes it look like you are logged into my account, and the entity is engaging what is manufacturing issues in this regard. The entity is outright blocking. So there's all manner of what is under all circumstances speaking to what no American citizen has to sit up and define. How are they monitoring on your device? How are they tampering with your access? The entity is engaging in that. Nonetheless, you have the same exact pattern. Okay? You're talking about what is inevitable with regard to revealing and studying how the entity engages in these criminal acts against you. But it is absolutely the POC. Okay? The entity sounding those sirens, doing so while I am accessing the pattern of conduct page. Pay attention to that as well. This is the entity which I want to go ahead and show what they are. Let me see what they are blocking. I'm going to include that in this screen recording. 1 second. All right, first I want you to see me accessing. This is my POC, the pattern of conduct page, and this is my attempt to post the same thing that is already on my profile. Hold on 1 second. So here it is in the and you can see how it's stating something isn't working, not permitting me to post it. This is the entity that is monitoring. That's monitoring conduct. This is the entity that is engaging in seeking to block the ability. So let me go ahead and show it one more time. Yeah, so this is the entity that's blocking altogether the ability to access even the buttons. Hold on, let me, oopsie. Good, I want you to see this because this is how the entity engages in what is monitoring on your device, and you may be ignorant about what you're actually experiencing. They're not malfunctions. So let me go to the page again, let you witness that. This is the entity that's engaged in real-time surveillance. And as you can also see, the entity is delusional because the psychopaths, the stalkers of the Upland Police Department have been surrounded by evidence for years. They're going to be disbanded by virtue of kidnapping in 2022, doing so in criminal summoning, again, like on more than one occasion, and doing so while they have been engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct, including to date. And you're even listening to them while they engage in criminal summoning. Understand that they are psychopaths, demon-possessed, engaging in the criminal surveillance system. You don't have an emergency under the fake sun. Okay, no fire, no criminal act committed outside of the ignorance of what this entity is maintaining, surveillance, hovering psychopathic levels of surveillance, even down to your genitalia. So the entity is maintaining a very highly malicious and maniacal system regarding sounding the sirens as though you're going somewhere, you're doing something, it's urgent, it's important, you have to hurry up and get there. They're doing it under the fake sun that's sitting under me, pursuant to what I'm doing on my phone, which also happens to be factually relevant, associated with that department. The entity is engaging in what is criminal summoning. It's a malicious criminal act committed by stalkers who go by the name of police officers. They are not police officers, and that is not law enforcement. And that is psychotic, that the entity maintains that means of every city engaging in surveillance through the fire departments, through the police departments, and through the ambulance personnel, as well as they are engaging in the criminal summoning method of light activity, relevant positioning, and audible activity pursuant to monitoring, including on devices. That's what the entity is actually engaging in. I'm going to paste this link and repeat what it is again that I did on my profile, just so that you can see how it is blocked. In fact, and this is, okay, what I want to make sure that this is clear. Confirm your identity before you can publish as this page. This is monitoring. This is analogous to the creation of or provision of a phone number in order to create a Google account. When you don't need that to create a Google account, and when I clear out my cookies and clear out my phone and everything, I'm perfectly capable of logging in, or if I change network or use my hotspot, I'm able to accomplish the same thing. These are again, feckless, because the entity is being prosecuted as engaging in surveillance on top of gang stalking me at 193 South Euclid Avenue yesterday morning. But nonetheless, I want you to see that, because this is the prosecution of the online venues, who are not ignorantly engaging in the pattern of conduct in the same way that the people of the state are not ignorantly engaging in the pattern of conduct when the fake sun is over their house while you are walking by, driving by. They're monitoring. And that's how that system operates. Okay, the entity that is engaging in that is doing so. So I want you to see the evidence that the entity is embarrassed about you saying. All right, this is the original post that is on Facebook, as you can see, yesterday, 10:55 a.m. This is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. So I'm going to show you the original. I just want you to see Marcelo Blanco, who is a terrorist leader. He's a stalker. He's a chief of stalkers and vagina monitors. He's not a police chief. These are terms that have actual meanings and roles under the Constitution, state and federal. And they're engaged in stalking me. In the course of this video, that's the focus, and that is not a law enforcement agency. And in fact, everybody in the city is maintaining obsessive presence under a fake sun that's present from morning until evening at this library, which is speaking to the fact that Marcelo Blanco is not a police chief, and he is exposed as one that is not only a criminal engaging in what is facilitating, enabling, sharing in criminal activity with the people of the state, but he is absurdly psychotic while doing so, very highly malicious. This is a demon. Okay, the entity uses sirens and lights in order to engage in monitoring pursuant to surveillance, not pursuant to what is anything that they are learning of, a legitimate emergency that they have to rush to, while these are all engineered means of gang stalking. Okay, gang stalking is committed in furtherance of murder and kidnapping. Marcelo Blanco is a criminal, okay, and he's a mentally ill one. The entity, this is also why my evidence is being blocked on the internet. So this is in concert with the U.S. military that you know, the ones doing the flips and the back flips and the U-turns and stalking in all manner in every city with planes and jets and stalking in helicopters. The Upland Police Department sharing this with the U.S. military under what is a fake sun. That is the criminal conspiracy shared by the city of Upland, and no gang stalking mayor, which is what Bill Velto is going to remain in office while I'm subject to this, and I prove it not only on the internet, but in relevant position where the Upland Police Department are indeed.
Alrighty, this is criminal summoning, all right? So the people of the state are the ones that are getting locked up, going to prison. So this is just to let you know the significance of every license plate I just documented. Marcelo Blanco is being prosecuted for the pattern of conduct. This is 8th Street in Euclid, where you know my video that I captured yesterday after 7 p.m. The fake sun is 0.3 miles at the same location 10 hours from now. Upland police are targeting while they're being documented, and I'm documenting criminal activity with that agency who is stalking in the path on the sidewalk under the fake sun at what is 9:59 in the morning. The people of the state are being prosecuted. You'll see the license plates. I'm going to upload it onto the X, which is nothing other than a convenient means of you very clearly seeing the identification of terrorists who are going to be prosecuted with the agency that's engaging in surveillance. It is Upland Police. They are being disbanded for the criminal activity that they are facilitating, sharing in with the people of the state. And they are sitting in the library that keeps this fake sun over it until the end of the day, like I documented at 7 p.m. yesterday. The people of the state are going to prison for this. And that's what I'm documenting. The entity is engaging in the P.O.C. with knowledge and intention at the facilitating venue of what is 8th Street and Euclid, where the ARCO is. Okay, I'm prosecuting ARCO. I'm prosecuting the people that stayed in their homes. I'm prosecuting the demons that are being prosecuted on the roads and the highways. They're losing their driving privileges. This is the basis of martial law, and this is the entity that's prosecuting itself. I just want to be clear because this video is going to accompany all the license plates, speaking to the entity that's being prosecuted for stalking with a police department, which is an act of terrorism. This is P.O.C. This is the prosecution of the people of the state who are domestic terrorists. It's currently 10 a.m.
All right, that is 10 a.m. As I stated, I captured that video, and what I captured are all of the following license plates. This is light activity. Relevant positioning. Relevant positioning is a position of a stalker in the path that is doing so as an entity, so that means the convenience of a group of people, and it's the government, so it's the population, it's the people of the state. That group is maintaining presence all around me, and that proof of that targeting is the fake sun itself, okay? And proving that it's the fake sun is merely being at this same location 8-9 hours later, and the fake sun is still there. By definition, that is not the natural environment. And there is absolutely nothing humorous about the fake sun. The fake sun is evident that you are under surveillance, and you are under surveillance for dubious reasons, for perverted reasons, for demonic and criminal reasons, and it's very important that you're aware of this. While you witness me enforce my rights, this is advocacy with regard to the rights that all American citizens have to not be subject to the criminal activity that the Upland Police Department are engaging in, the psychotic behavior of focusing your attention on one person who are the people of the state, and doing so while you are engaging in the pattern of conduct in substance, which is proven. And so this is what the Upland Police Department did. If you can see this, June 12th at 9:57 a.m., where I'm capturing June 12th, 9:56 a.m., I'm capturing the crime scene. June 12th, 9:57 a.m., this is where the fake sun is. And this is psychopathic pacing on the roads and the highways under this fake sun. This is how you're recognizing mental illness. This is how you're recognizing malice, the criminal pattern of conduct, because it doesn't go anywhere 8 hours later. How is it in Florida at the same time? Because that's what you're looking at in Florida. It is not the natural environment. And then while I'm in Upland, California, even right now, this is the documentation. That which is over me at 9:57 in the morning is not going to remain over me while I am 11, 12, 1, 4 hours later. Okay, this is up the street from the library. Okay, so it doesn't matter what direction you look in. It doesn't matter how serious you maintain. It doesn't matter how deaf you want to act like you are when the helicopter and the sirens are sounding. You are gang stalking. And this is how you're going to prosecute psychopaths who are engaging in an unspoken system. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that, and this video is also serving to prosecute everybody that was documented. It includes every license plate that I published on the internet that is engaging in what is stalking, and it is a massive means of criminal facilitation, and this is psychologically harmful while the entity knows that I'm documenting and does so because of that fact, and they do so in a manner that is highly malicious, where this entity presupposes that they will get away with it, that no one would ever believe the targeted individual, where you don't even have language to describe the mentally ill pattern of conduct, the mentally ill of that entity, not the mental illness of any American citizen subject to it. And that is never to be confused. The entity is engaging in what is highly malicious conduct. These are demons that are stalking, and they're stalking as a group. And that's exactly what was documented. License plates are those that are engaging in psychopathic pacing. They are together targeting one person who they know, okay, their knowledge is proven by that fake sun that follows me to the same intersection 8 hours later. Okay, they're engaging in this with the U.S. military. They're doing so as an entity that is maliciously targeting in furtherance of murder and in furtherance of kidnapping. And this is what I published on X, and I'm unable to share it then on Facebook, the subsequent platform. Okay, and this is relevant to what is proving surveillance on the internet. Okay, the entity that is engaging in this is subject to this, so I maintain a whole chain of evidence identifying all those who are subject to prison. Okay, there are more than those that I'm documenting here, but I focus my attention on the psychopathic pacing on the roads and the highways, the entity that is stalking me on traffic, which is a chief means of surveillance in California. They're engaged in sexual assault and battery. They're engaged in harassment. They're engaged in psychological torture. They're engaged in criminal stalking as an entity, which is, again, a never before contemplated federal offense. It is, albeit inadequately, addressed under federal stalking statute, Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. They are engaged in federal stalking. Federal stalking statute does not go far enough. And this is why I do advocate SIIS. This is systematic infliction of inhumane suffering. This is regarding what is acknowledging the reality of domestic terrorism, stalking, monitoring by a government, the United States government, that is sharing in this with those outside of the United States as well. It is treason. All right, so the entity is engaging in this, and they are doing so. And this is the video that would be compared with, at the same exact location, 193 South Euclid Avenue, all the people of the state, the Upland Police Department that are stalking, the ones that you heard in this video, still stalking and monitoring under what is a fake sun that's in the same city over the same person, 4 hours later from where it was yesterday at 10 o'clock. And this is the entity that's engaging in that. This is video evidence captured 7:13 p.m.
Alrighty, this is Marcelo Blanco. It's not a resignation. He's being relieved as a terrorist. And these demons at the intersection, 6 Yolanda Paul 965. I have her big hair, the wig she has on, gang stalking at the intersection with the Upland Police Department. All right, this is the entity that, again, they get bad ideas as I publish the evidence. Mike Lorenz is going to prison, and Marcelo Blanco's following Darren Goodman right to the same destination. He's going to prison. Flying over this intersection, I'm capturing video as soon as possible, but they're stalking flying right here over the intersection, right over the homes, right where you see this amber light. That's not no sunset. Where they're flying, I'm on San Antonio and 8th Street in the morning. UPS is gang stalking 82256 George 1. And in the morning, the fake sun is here. That's not a sunset. Marcelo Blanco's a demon, and he's a foolish demon who's going to prison as well. Okay, these are the demon-possessed that are engaged in that pattern of conduct. They are very much triggered. They're mentally ill. So as I publish the evidence, this is just giving you the psychological background, because under all circumstances, the criminal activity is there. I'm captured, and they're going to prison. Gang stalking with police officers is federal prison, and this is what they're doing on the roads and the highways. AWBX 248, that's why it's imprudent to stalk me and molest with impossible light under a fake sun, because everybody knows what you're doing. License 9 PYN 526, stalking with Marcelo Blanco and furtherance of murder and kidnapping. License 9YRA 067, and they are stalking at the stoplight. License plate 8SMX 489. And the demons are gang stalking inside of the Upland Public Library as well. This is P.O.C. License plate 6WXR281, stalking with the Upland Police Department. 8TQV736. This is federal prison. And this is mentally ill behavior. This is not traffic. They're engaged in pacing. This is psychopathic pacing, and this is where the entity is keeping a fake sun. I'm walking here in the morning. Took pictures of license plates in the morning. This is the fake sun. They're all demons. They're all stalking. The living dead are going to prison. They're going to, in this country, they're going to fill them up. And mental institutions. This is P.O.C. Marcelo Blanco is going to be amongst them. He's going to federal prison. Okay? Just like his brother in Satan, Mike Lorenz, they're going to prison. They're all over the internet engaging in what is beyond a reasonable doubt and even to a scientific degree. That's above the legal standard. It is more than beyond a reasonable doubt that they are engaged in furtherance of murder, which is why a police department, not just Marcelo, not just Mike Lorenz, are stalking. They're doing that to commit murder.
All right, so where you can see this is where I'm located in the morning at 10 a.m. Okay, this is video evidence that the entity has no right whatsoever, and it is a matter of judicial notice, where you are under that which is impossible to naturally occur. And it is on its face something that is extraordinary, and it is legally relevant, and it is nothing that's going to be overlooked in court. The entity is engaging in what is a malicious, i.e. supernatural pattern of conduct as demons who cloak themselves as police officers who are engaging in monitoring you, which is demonic. And they do it as an entity, the people of the state who are demons, doing so in that specific environment, which is illustrated here at the same intersection at 9:57 a.m. and what I'm documenting at 7:13 p.m. at the same address, stalking me using city-issued vehicles and engaging in what is stalking me in helicopters under the fake sun. This is the P.O.C. The entity is engaging in what is, through this video, communicating in a lawful threat, sounding their sirens, and they don't even have any genuine emergencies. That doesn't exist in the specific environment. The entity sounds sirens and uses fire trucks and police vehicles and ambulances to appear as they are noble heroes, engaging in something diligent, something important, when all they're doing is monitoring, stalking, violating your privacy. That's a reality of what they're doing. They set fires and then they put them out and call themselves heroes. They commit crimes and then call themselves investigating them and solving them and call themselves heroes. And they entertain these things in corrupt courts under the fake sun, where the demons making up the jury pool and sitting on the bench and prosecuting the case. This is the entity that's engaging in the surveillance system, and you are going to prison. It is domestic terrorism. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and this is relevant to surveillance that is underway on X. It is underway on Facebook. It is underway on the venue of the internet, and this is the point of this evidence, okay? The entity is keeping my evidence under surveillance, including what is my evidence speaking to the fact that as an American citizen, as a woman, as a human being, publishing the evidence, which is a means of protecting myself and having a right to protect myself against my attackers and identifying them. Doing so is a means of what is information that is newsworthy and important to be disseminated, and not what the entity is doing, protecting gang stalkers, that is protecting terrorists, protecting criminals. Okay? That's what the entity is doing when they are shielding. That's what you're doing. And the entity is doing so on the venue of the internet as well. And that is actionable. This is within the same system, the elaborate system of federal group stalking and monitoring gang stalking, okay? Which is not only underway in relevant position, meaning physically around you, you're being stalked. The entity, in order to monitor you, is stalking you. And how do they do that? They live with you. They live around you in the housing subdivision, in the apartment complex, in your neighborhood, when you're going to the grocery store, when you're going to school. This is an entity of demons. This is the reality. It's not a scary movie. In fact, movies are premised upon what the demon-possessed are actually doing. And this is all proven with tangible evidence for you to look in yourself. It's provided to you, okay? This is the P.O.C. It is currently 2:10 p.m. on Saturday, June 13, 2026.